assalamu alaikum, Jianu, Pakhair Rogale, Ni Hao, Chunashume, Washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, Ola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Hala Shama Chatore, Alan Wasalan Marhaba, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PT World and are watching World this morning, alongside the very amazing Shiza Hashmi and Shazad Khan. Hi Shiza, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm absolutely perfect. I'm top of the world right now.
Same, so
Yeah, but there's
energetic
one thing
about
which
this
I wanted
Monday
to ask
morning.
you.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that, because on Thursday you were telling me how to say Assalamu alaikum in Dutch, right?
Okay, so it's
What
not
was it?
basically a greeting, it's
Yeah.
good morning. It's called Goeiemorgen.
Goeiemorgen.
Yeah,
All right.
perfect.
Was that correct? I think I've picked up the accent too as well.
Yeah, Goeiemorgen.
But
Perfect.
that's great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday today. We're starting our week, and it's so superb outside because the weather is amazing over here in Islamabad.
And the view, oh my God, breathtaking. Perfect.
So clouds are just floating over our heads, so it can actually be drizzling at any point of time in this day. So please make sure you keep an umbrella with you. You do not want to get wet.
And do not just, throw water on other people, just like we were discussing the other day.
Don't splash it.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, so what are we going to do now?
Let's take a look at the top stories for this hour, and then we move on to begin our show.
Let's do it. Good morning.
A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket successfully launched a Telesat communications satellite from Cape Canaveral in Florida.
Moving on, where Kensington Palace has released a new photo of Prince George, who turns 5 on Sunday. The photo, taken in the garden at Clarence House following the christening of Prince Louis, shows Prince George beaming while standing in front of a brick wall. See, this is what I call amazing life. So you're just 5 years old, and the world gets to know about your birthday.
You're just born and you're a royal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it's just sheer luck. That's what it is.
Pakistan thrashed Zimbabwe by 131 runs in the fifth and final one-day international to complete the 5-0 whitewash in series at Bulawayo.
Good job done, Green Teas.
Oh, have you
it was
seen
superb.
the record that Fakhr Zaman has made?
Yes,
Amazing.
that's
so
what
proud.
our next update is.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see.
So congratulations to Pakistanis out there and to Fakhr Zaman himself. As Pakistani opening batsman, Fakhr Zaman has become the fastest batsman to score 1,000 runs in one-day international history.
And he broke the record after 38 years.
And in 18 innings as well.
Okay.
And for all of the rest of the people have actually done it in 21 innings. That's what it is.
That's 3 less. Yeah, perfect. So proud.
Yeah, I am too about my figures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these were the top stories. Now, whatever we're going to talk...
Before we move on to anything
okay,
else,
go ahead.
I want to take a moment on behalf of Shazad and myself, where we condemn the inhumane, the unbearable act of extremism that has recently engulfed our country. And sadly, we have lost some precious lives. We have lost some great patriotic leaders, including Ikramullah Gandapur, Harun Bilor, and Siraj Raisani as well. And in the wake of all this surge that has taken place in our country, especially in terms of, election campaigns, the least we can do is, we have said this before and we are reiterating again, to go out and vote for the right person so that the blood of the martyrs does not go to waste.
Exactly. And now over here, people, we are going to take a second to change your perception about what's actually happening in the recent wake of terrorism or the terrorist attacks as well. Now, for example, when we talk about all political parties, they want the elections to actually take place on 25th of July. There's no doubt about it. When we talk about judiciary, they're on the same page. When we talk about armed forces, they're on the same page as well. So why do we actually have to construct an idea which really does not apply on the mindsets of the organizations, of the institutions within Pakistan? So please make sure that we stop actually talking about all of these sacred institutions who are putting in their 100% to make sure that the elections take place on time as well. So please stop doing that. For all those media personnel who are out there, there's a great responsibility on your shoulders. Please do not mislead the entire Pakistani nation. Please do not do that. And this is what we are here for today.
That's true. Now, since we're talking about this is a form of, let's say, violent extremism,
Yes.
How do you define violent extremism?
Okay, so now when we talk about extremism, in our lives are different. So, the type of war we fight, I think it's in front of television, it's in front of camera. We talk about people who have different mindsets, who have different narratives. And it is very imperative for a nation to be on the same platform, to be on the same page. And that can actually be achieved by coalitions, by joining hands with them,
Yeah.
by sitting down with them, talking out with them, because everything needs to come down to a table where you talk it out nicely as well. What about you? How do you do it?
You know, this is what I was going to talk about. So basically, I believe violent extremism is, practicing radical practices that you want to achieve some ideology and you're doing all the wrong things to get it. But sadly, there are portions and segments in Pakistan that have to face extremism slash terrorism. And in this fight against terrorism, we have lost more than 65,000 precious lives.
Yes.
And of course, we're sad about that. And the Pakistan Army, in collaboration with the Pakistan government, has spent more than, I don't know, billions of rupees, in this fight, and which is why we're being recognized all around the world because of the sacrifices that we've made.
Exactly.
But Shazad, that is what the authorities have done.
Yes.
What do you think is our individual responsibility to counter the hatred and extremism?
Well, I'm not really glad that you've asked me this question, because I think these days everybody is a warrior on Facebook,
True.
on Instagram, on Twitter, hashtag wars and whatnot. But I think what we're lacking right now is, and I've written a song about it too as well, what we're lacking is our moral values, the etiquettes we used to have, the type of people we are not now as well. So for all those people who actually want to have a say,
Yeah.
whatever you write, obviously it's your own Facebook wall or it's your own Instagram account, right? But if in case, you're one of those blessed people who have an impact, whatever they say, people are going to follow it. Please make sure that you have to be responsible. But other than that, I'm very happy, I'm very glad that today the people who've actually joined us are the ones who are not actually fighting all of this on social media platforms. They have made an organization, and these people are actually known as Aman Kalabis. That's what I'm going to call them as well. They're great people. We're going to ask them what kind of interventions are they going to come up with in terms with or in coalition with the youngsters of Pakistan as well, and let's see what kind of change we can witness in years to come.
So they're not just talking, they're also mobilizing the society.
Yes. So,
which is
ladies and
great.
gentlemen, lesser talk and more of introductions right now about these Aman Kalabians who are actually over here in the studios with us. Very smiling, very chirpy. So on my right-hand side, okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I do the introduction, so first of all, the foundation is with the title of Shour. And then they came up with another project which was Peace Without Borders. And now, there's another branch, another facet of it, which is the Aman Kalabians or the Aman Ambassadors as well. We'll talk about this term, how did they come up with it, but what it is, this is what we need to know. So on my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, I've been joined by somebody who's a social activist, the women who's actually leading this cause as well. She's none other than Miss Afifa Javed. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, and thank you so much for having me over.
Thank you very much for saying that to us too as well. Nobody says that. Okay. And alongside Miss Afifa, there's somebody else who's actually joined hands. He's an advocate High Court himself. He's none other than Mr. Danial Hassan. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good. Again, thank you for having
Thank
me.
you very much for joining us. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, she's a peace ambassador herself. She's none other than Miss Mahila Chaudhary. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm good. How are you guys?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. So let's get the conversation started.
Yes.
Go ahead,
so
Shiza, you do it.
Let's begin with, first of all, it's a self-coined term, Aman Ambassador, right? Explain to us what Aman Ambassador means and what Aman Kalab is about.
Before explaining what ambassador is, I would just come up with the camping itself, what Kalab itself means.
Okay.
You must be familiar with the concept of revolution, that revolution can just come with some bloody sort of war or extremism around. So we just thought of coming up with something of combining revolution with a word peace itself.
Okay.
Why not revolutionize society?
Why can't it be peaceful? Right.
Yeah, why can't we revolutionize our society with peace itself? So that's where we come up with this term itself, that combining two different, totally different terms in one concept. So that's where the concept of Kalab itself came into our minds.
That's cool. I seriously will pick up on this one, but later on. But today we are here to talk about countering violent extremism and narratives of hate speech as well. How do we plan on doing that, first of all?
How Kalab is doing that, we are trying to popularize the message of peace, non-violence and tolerance through our different activities. And those activities are directly or indirectly linked with the youth, because youth, we can proudly say it's the future of our generation, of our nation.
Only if they strive towards doing something or bringing about a change within Pakistan, which is a positive one.
they are doing that.
Okay.
I would say I am very hopeful with the youth of our nation.
Okay.
I can say there is a lot of talent, there is a lot of hope in them. They really want to do something with
Indeed.
the society,
Okay.
but they are just looking for those platforms. So why not to provide
So
those
are you
platforms?
only targeting the youth?
Mainly to youth,
Okay.
not just to youth, but mainly to youth.
Okay.
There are other segments of the camping as well that are targeting towards the religious extreme, religious scholars, religious, I would say, people who are somehow, somewhere creating an influence in the society.
Okay.
So we are not just mainly focused towards youth, but yes, to I would say most of the camping is directly towards mainly focused towards youth. How? We are doing different activities including peace camps. What is a peace camp? Now we go to a university where we not just a university, religious madrasa, or
Okay,
I would say religious seminary as well, where we go and talk about the basic concepts of peace and harmony, how an individual can play its part towards such concepts of that our society needs to tackle with. So that is what the peace camp is all about. We take our trainers along and they conduct one-day trainings over there, and then there comes different social activities.
Right.
There we include guru talks.
Okay.
A guru talk is basically a social interaction, sort of an event, a session where we allow people, where we invite people to come and discuss their issues, their concerns with the influencers of our society.
Okay,
People
Afifa,
who have
that's
some-
perfect. But you know, before moving on to them, I think I have to stick to you since this project is sort of your baby.
Exactly.
Why was there a need to bring this? Is it the first of its kind?
Yeah. How? Because it's providing a platform to most of our, I would say, influencers or
Okay.
the people who have some say or some.
They have a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are providing a common platform to all of those because everyone is working somehow, somewhere in their individual capacities. But we thought of bringing all those people together,
right.
so they can utilize their energies collectively. So
perfect.
that's where we came up with
Okay,
this.
that's amazing. And you know what? You know, it's a compliment for you that, you know, we always like such kind of guests as well, where we ask one question and
And
then
they
they come
keep-
up with another one. How? Okay, you know, this is what happens. So
Oh,
thank you very
perfect.
much
You're
for
the
being
best
that.
guest ever.
Now, Danielle, moving on to you, since you're an advocate High Court too as well, so I'm pretty much thinking that you'll probably take a side or a dimension where you're going to talk about fundamental rights or what is within the Constitution. First things first, how did you become a part of this activity? And then how are you playing your role in terms of being an advocate?
Thank you very much for that very important question. So, I've been a part of this organization off and on for the past half a decade. And I've been working on various projects, but specifically about Club, I became a peace ambassador when I was initially contacted by Afifa, and she asked me about ideas for, you know, establishing peace and how we can use the law and you know, constitutional rights in establishing peace in the society.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now how are you planning on doing that?
Yeah, so basically there are multiple avenues to do that, you know, and if we look at societies where rule of law has been established, we find that those societies also are more or less very peaceful, and the idea of establishing peace can be linked towards rule of law. And to give you an example, our constitution talks about fundamental rights, and among many other fundamental rights, there's the right to free education. Under Article 25A,
Yeah.
and you know, education can be laid as the cornerstone of peace in a society. But then again, there is a difference between education and awareness.
Yeah.
There are many people who are who might be very well educated,
yeah.
but they might not be working towards peace, so their mindset would be very extremist.
Okay.
So they're two different things, but education is the first step towards the goal of establishing peace.
We'll definitely come back to that. Let's move on to Mahila Chaudhary, who is a peace ambassador as well. What are the sole duties of a peace ambassador?
Firstly, to make sure that whatever achievements you're going for, they are achieved through peace.
Okay.
Secondly, knowing that you're representing not only yourself but a very good organization and your nation. Thirdly, to make
So
sure
the organization comes first and then the nation? Or the nation comes first and then the organization?
I think it's not a race. Firstly, I think that we're all Pakistanis, But then, in order to really put into effect what we're doing and basically to be more focused with our approach, we need to make sure that we have the vision of what Aman Kalab is at the back of our heads.
Okay, that's
right?
just cool and amazing it is. I'm sorry, but a part of me is actually not going to agree to this because of the fact that when we talk about peace, we need to set priorities.
Yeah.
So let's set priorities first of all. Organizations first or nation
Yeah.
first?
I would say your first priority should be the people you're trying to serve.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're talking about priorities, then your priority should be the people who have the problems that you're going
Who are
to
working
solve.
for the right cause as well. I'll help you
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely,
Yeah, I
yes.
think that's great. Now,
Yes.
how did you become a part of this organization?
So I was in university when I first took an initiative and I formed my own social enterprise called Dreamcatcher Pakistan. We were basically a platform for abuse. And while we were working on that, I realized that you cannot eradicate abuse unless you eradicate inequality, because then you'd just be treating the symptoms and not the disease. Fast forward to 2-3 years later, I think I came across Afifa. I don't really remember how, but we started talking about our projects and everything, and then she told me about Aman Kalab, and I loved it the moment I heard about it. So she asked me to be an ambassador, and that's how our journey together started.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Nowadays, I'm working on a platform for people with chronic illnesses because I was afflicted with one not too long ago. And I realized that a lot of people actually aren't living lives to their full, potential because there is no platform for chronic illness, and because of that not being there, there is a lot of unemployment. There's a lot of mental health issues and all of that. So I'm also trying to eradicate that.
Wow, so what kind of chronic illnesses are we trying to mention about over here?
Cancer. Something that has to do with your genetic makeup, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, diabetes, something that is related to mental illness such as schizophrenia or personality disorders, all of that.
Wow,
basically.
great. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you all over
I
here.
know, so proud of
yeah,
all this.
a little bit of hard talk, ladies and gentlemen, in between, but this is what you need to do to get the real narrative out as well. So
that's true.
let me come back to Daniel. So I'm very sorry, Shizad, that I'm taking
No, it's okay,
a lot of
please.
space today, but it's just because of the fact that I woke up early, so Daniel, you said education, that you working towards fundamental rights and that education is very important. She talked about inequality and abuse, and it'll only get away, we'll eradicate it if we'll be inclusive. Now, obviously, education is the foremost important thing which we need to be focused on. Now, we have seen in the history that there are a lot of people who went to some very notable universities, didn't do a really great job as being humans. Now, is it education now? Is it awareness? Now, where do we prioritize these?
That's a very good question, and
Thank you, yeah, I'm known for this.
that's
Sorry.
your job, yeah. So, I mean, going to a good school, getting a higher education from notable universities around the world, that can get you degrees and qualifications, but that cannot guarantee a change of a mindset, right? And that cannot essentially guarantee that you will become a different person altogether. So I think as far as prioritizing goes, education is important, but then it's more about awareness. It's about the surroundings that you live in. It's about the society as a whole, because I, as Danial Hassan, can be a very good lawyer for what it counts, but if I am not upholding the rule of law in the society, if I'm not doing my bit to establish peace and to establish a good living for my fellow beings, then I'm afraid I don't think I've done my job.
Very nice.
Okay, hold that thought while we move on to Afifa. Afifa, just last night I was going through your website and I came across this approach which was very intriguing. It's peace in, peace out. So explain that, which basically I feel like it means that, of course, you cannot channel the peace until you have it inside you. So how are you going about that?
You got it exactly how we are planning to do it.
Okay.
I think peace cannot be achieved until unless you are being peaceful inside.
Okay.
So that's how we came up with something that can make you peaceful inside.
No, but
inside
how?
you. That's where I was coming up. Aman Kalab is basically trying to bridge that gap where society and self is lacking behind. So we have planned 40 days. We have made a 40 days online course that we call a self peace development course that is mainly focusing towards your inner peace. That is a free online course available on our website.
Open to anyone?
Yeah, open to
Okay.
anyone. who is willing and wishing to
To be
do
a part,
something,
Yeah.
to be an Aman Clubian.
Yeah.
not just an Aman Kalabian,
Okay.
to be a peaceful person
Yeah.
itself.
I think
himself,
that was
yeah.
Aman Club, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one thing we are working towards, the inner peace sort of a thing, and that course leads towards where I'm coming towards the most important element of this campaign, towards a peace fellowship. If you are being able to complete that course within a time span of 60 days, because we are giving you a leverage of 20 days so that you can come up with those 40 days. If you are done with those 40 days of course, you are eligible for a peace fellowship. That is a national level fellowship program being introduced for the first time in Pakistan, because there is no such peace fellowship introduced before. So if you are done with that 40 days course, you are eligible for that fellowship, and we would be taking 30 individuals together
Oh, wow.
at one platform where they would be being trained towards an advanced level of peace training. So after getting that 7-day training, 7-day residential fellowship program, that is, after getting that 7-day fellowship advanced training, you would be going back to your community, and then you would be playing your part. Then you would be implementing or practically implementing those practices you would be learning in those 7 days through influencers, through trainers, through people who have more, I would say, knowledge and learning towards these things.
Okay, you know, that's perfect. This is a great approach. I really appreciate it. But I have to say that there have been peacekeeping missions in Pakistan on a larger scale, let's not name, but some of them have failed. And, you know, a lot of peacekeeping missions usually fail around the world. Why do you think so? What do you think there might be some of the factors that affect the peacekeeping missions from achieving success?
If I talk about my own experience, what I have observed and what I have seen is campaigns or projects fail when they have no sustainability, I would say, concept or policy with them. So this is one thing that we are lacking behind, because we just focus on the shorter term goal. We don't look up to the longer term goal, how we are going to tackle this and how we are going to sustain with this concept or with this ideology of ours. So this is one thing I have seen, that projects, they start with a very higher level, higher, I would say, mission or goal, but they just fail in the middle once the shorter term goal is being achieved.
So I guess what you're trying to convey over here is that we are lacking the continuous push or the force behind these missions, and that's why they, well, I'm not going to say fail, but I think it's an exercise to initiate another one as well. So moving on to Mahila over here. So now, Mahila, have you attended any of these fellowship programs as well, because you're a peace ambassador?
No, because like she said, it hasn't been initiated. This will be the first time it will be.
Oh, okay.
And you will be a part of it?
I hope to.
Okay,
yes.
Daniel, what about you?
I hope to as well.
Okay. So we'll definitely get more information on this, ladies and gentlemen, but since we are going to hit on to the narrative of hate speech as well, and we are going to indulge ourselves to talk about what people have to say on social media and whether how many times the information is correct or not, how are they going to have a counter narrative of this one as well. This is something which we're going to discuss after break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a good one.
A vote is our national responsibility. Please come out in big numbers and cast your vote on 25th of July. This is the only way forward to change your destiny and the destiny of the country.
25th July 2018. That is your day. Go cast your vote with your family, friends, neighbors, and everybody. Go make it a big way. You know, that is how Pakistan can prosper. That is how you can make the difference. Thank you.
we are about to go to the polls once again on the 25th of July. My request to all of you is do vote, irrespective of your party affiliations, because elections are important if you want to bring in change in our society and in our country. Do go, cast your vote, and I hope this will bring about a positive change in our country.
Welcome back to World This Morning. Hope you're having a great morning. We are having a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. And with us, we have some very great intellectuals from some peacekeeping missions inside Pakistan, which is great. We're talking about that, and we will continue to talk about that. But before, just a few days back, I was on Facebook, and I came across this horrific news of a 10-year-old child who was beaten till he fainted by his religious teacher.
Was it a video or a news?
I saw a picture. I saw the visuals. I don't want to recall the visuals, but it was because the innocent 10-year-old child tried to steal some amount of money from the mosque, which I want to give him the benefit of doubt because he's only 10 years old, first of all. And second of all, he belongs to a very poor family. I read the whole background and everything. To which the reaction, I suppose, was stimulated by aggression and impatience, the religious teacher's reaction. Afifa, I want to, ask you basically, so these are some of the major segments of the society that you need to target. You need to teach them, how to maintain peace and everything. But you're going to universities and schools and cities. Are you also somehow reaching these people?
Exactly. We are not just targeting or focusing towards the, I would say, elite class of our society, but we are going far-flung areas as well. I would say certain Punjab and interior Sindh, where we conduct trainings in different religious seminaries as well.
Have you done such before?
Yeah, we have done few in Lahore, we have done few in Multan, where I don't know I can name the madrasas or not, but we have been to Jamia Naimia, where we conducted 2 different sessions. One was the Guru Talk, where we included 2 different combinations of people, 2 different religious scholars. Who one was from the one from a modern school of thought, and then one from the typical religious school of thought, and we combined them to have a discussion with the scholars studying over there, where they discuss their general issues, like how we can be a part of the society, how we can play our individual role, because people don't even know how to do that. So that's where those religious scholars communicated with them and told them how they can be a part of it. And then other one was about the basic peace education, like how important it is for that segment of the society, how they can play their part, how they can learn more about such things, about intolerance, about patience, about countering violent extremism, because they don't know about such terms even. So that's where this gap is taking place. So we are doing that as well.
But is there a difference? Did you feel like there is a difference in terms of receiving the education end to people?
I would say people in religious seminaries are more receiving towards such things. That's surprising for me as well.
Contrary to popular belief, right?
Yeah, that's surprising for me as well, because before going to such places, even we as a team was a bit hesitating towards such, how we are going to get a feedback out of it. But it was tremendous. It was amazing. The kind of feedback we got from there was, I would say, appreciable.
Okay, great. But I think that we're missing out a link over here. Now, since you mentioned about a kid stealing money, and then he got beaten, and then you said that it was an extremist mindset, and they were being very aggressive. Now, I don't know whether I should say this or not, but I'm proud to be from a generation where we actually got beaten from our parents almost every day. And I think that there might have been an occasion within my own life as well where I might have taken a 100-rupee note out of my father's pocket, but eventually went back to him and I told him that this is what I did. And then he consulted me, made me sit down, talked about all of these things. But when my parents were hitting me, nobody said that, this is an extremist mindset, that they were being aggressive or whatnot. Everybody had a narrative where they wanted the kids to actually grow to be a better human being.
Of course, yes.
Now, since you were going to universities, you're going to seminaries, you're going to madrasas and whatnot, are we even going to parents? Are we going to talk to them how to actually tell your kids to be peace ambassadors? Let's start from you.
So this reminds me of our community workshops under the initiative that I took back in university. And I would want to go back to your narrative of, having been beaten by your parents, because that is something that we bond over as Pakistanis, don't we? But the difference between, I believe, disciplining your child and actually passing the mark where then from there on it's abuse is that if you're only disciplining a child, it's only to teach that kid a lesson, and then when we talk about abuse, that's when you're using it as a punching bag for your own aggression or for your own lack of peace or your anger,
frustration,
and you're taking it out on the child. So that's what my take on this is.
There's a limit.
There's a limit. And this reminds me of the community workshops that we did. And we went to different mothers. And we also had a very, very good and lasting campaign on social media. Where we involved parents, we involved elder siblings, and we involved teachers and actually taught them that, just because you need to discipline a child, hitting them is not the only way. There are 1,000,001 ways you can do it. It depends on what your motivations are. Are you looking for the easy way out? Or are you actually looking to be a better person in this kid's life?
Amazing. What about you? What's your take on this one?
Sorry, I zoned out.
Okay, it's perfect.
It's early morning, guys. It's
so what I was trying to ask over here was that, this organization, the type of work you're putting in, I thought that there was a link missing, and that was the parents themselves who actually need to be the first institute to tell their kids about how peace can be maintained or how to prioritize things. She said, and I think I'm going to agree to that, that there's certain limit to it, and if you go beyond that, that's when we call that, this is being aggressive or this is being very unrealistic. What's your take on this one?
I feel that, parents are obviously very important when it comes to teaching children something or teaching the future generation of how to live. As far as the campaign goes, we are targeting future parents for the moment. And as far as, sort of dealing with parents or talking to them at this point goes, I'm afraid that I'd say it would be a bit counterproductive.
Okay.
Because they've done their parenting, and a change in their mindset, A, is difficult, and B, it will not result in long-lasting fruits or a product that would be beneficial for the future generation.
Okay.
So if I'm benefiting from this campaign today, and if I'm going to be a parent sometime in the future, I know I would know better how to deal with my children, and if I know the sort of flaws or faults in my upbringing, I can probably correct them when it comes to
only if you will know. That's what the problem is. And since, this is where we initiated the show from, ladies and gentlemen, where we talked about prioritizing.
Yeah.
Now, first things first, as we talked about that, every other organization, the political parties, the judiciary, the armed forces, they want the elections to take place on 25th of July. So it is about prioritizing in the first place. So first, the nation comes first, the country comes first, and then all its institutions, everybody then definitely joins the line.
Yeah.
And this is why, because we are proud to call ourselves Pakistanis, we have got something very special to share with you guys. Go ahead, take a listen, because every initiative or every talk or every such amazing thing which is being done over here within Pakistan, we cannot actually label that to be biased on one side or probably talking about somebody's other narrative as well. So go ahead, listen to this first, be on the same page, and then good things will come to good people. Go ahead, do that.
Well, this is so patriotic. All the right feels. I'm having goosebumps.
Well, that's just great. But since we were in conversation and, we definitely wanted to prioritize things, and this is why, we played this one of the very amazing anthems as well.
Yeah.
And the reason behind it was that, whatever we talk about, whatever we have responsibilities in our shoulders, and, whatever differences we have, let them be on one side. First, we are Pakistanis, and then we talk about how we feel about things. So now, since we wanted to talk about the narrative of hate speech on social media, are you guys trying to counter that, or are you coming up with campaigns where you're going to make people aware of how to actually convey things?
Exactly. I would just tell you about the social media thing. Social media is basically backbone for this campaign. We are using it as a backbone. How? Because we are trying to reach out to the as maximum audience, as maximum people as possible, and social media is the best tool for that right now. So we keep on getting peace messages that we call as peace messages from different celebrities, because people know them. People know them by their faces, and they are getting the messages they are talking about for peace, for harmony in our society. So this is one thing we are doing. We are taking different celebrities on board with us, and then we are trying to take their take on what do they think about the social peace building around one thing. And then we are also doing different vlogs on social experiments, on different social issues, social awareness issues. Those video messages, those videos themselves are creating an impact, because we get feedback from people after uploading them, and then they just tell us that how this particular 5 minutes or 3 minutes video changed their perspective towards one thing.
Okay.
So this is something we are keep on doing on social media.
So now some of the people reply you, to which you call them peace messages.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you're also targeting the larger audience here? I mean, everyone today, everyone literally has the facility of the internet on their gadget, okay? And because it's such a tool, you're literally hiding yourself behind the screens and putting out all the hatred that you can, because there's no gatekeepers, there's no filters, so you can literally do or write whatever you want to, you spread whatever you want. Those are the few, a very small bunch of people that are contacting you, and which is great, you're doing a great job. But how do you tackle these larger masses? Can you, target their mentality that this is not what you use social media for? There are better things to do on social media.
Yeah, we try to come up with an answer to every hate message we get, because neglecting and ignoring a message is not the solution.
Okay.
We have to come up with something that we can say it was our take on this. We get feedback, we get hate messages as well towards one thing that we call as they just say you cannot bring peace by talking about it on social media.
Yeah.
So this is one thing we keep on getting. We keep on getting such messages, but then countering them is the solution, I think, because ignoring them is not the only solution we can talk about.
Amazing.
Okay,
Very
Danielle, so quickly, since she's talking about about some celebrity endorsements, their videos and everything. Which one of these has a larger impact? A lot of people that can relate to.
I think celebrity messages have a larger impact because people can relate to them, be it from any field of life, be it actors, sports personalities, or anyone you look up to. When a person you look up to or your role model is saying something, and it has an impact on you one way or the other. So they have a greater impact as far as our campaign
Very
goes.
nice. And one last question, that is, how optimistic are you about the youth of Pakistan?
I am optimistic. I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but today I am proud to say that I am optimistic. Especially because, you know, as the years have gone by and I've seen a rise in awareness of the youth, and I've seen in them a tendency to accept change. That is not a lot right now, but it's growing.
It's
and
growing,
it gives me hope, honestly. It does.
Amazing that is. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, but Afifa still needs to say something very quickly. You've only got 15 seconds. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to share the website and our Facebook pages so that people who would want to join us, they can just go to our official website, that is www.peacewithoutborders.pk, and then our Facebook page, Peace Without Borders Pakistan. Do write us and join us in any way
And
possible.
it is very important too as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Keep on moving ahead with the mission of yours as well. You know, you guys bring us energy, you guys bring us hope as well. Please keep on doing that. Thank you very much for coming over. All the best for your future endeavors. And for all those people who are out there, if there's any more information you require, please write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter.
World This Morning minus G.
On Daily Motion and YouTube.
World This Morning.
And the fabulous repeat is going to be at
11:05 in the night.
till the next time. 1, 2, 3.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.